everyone. Welcome to another deep dive. Today we're looking at Sellfy.
Okay.
It's this e-commerce platform that's getting a lot of buzz, especially with creators. You sent us this hustle guide, so we're going to break that down and see if Sellfy is the right fit for people who want to sell digital products directly to their audience. One thing that really jumped out at me is how Sellfy is built specifically for creators. You know, like it lets them do direct sales
Right.
instead of pushing you onto a huge marketplace like Etsy or Amazon. And the range of digital products that you can sell on Sellfy is pretty wild.
It is.
Like, it's not just ebooks and online courses, which, you know, those are kind of the standards.
Sure.
But they've got things like sound effects, Lightroom presets, like all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
And of course, we got to dig into these hustling strategies they talk about. It's
Right.
not just about setting up shop. It's about actually getting those sales.
Exactly.
So what's your take on what makes Sellfy stand out from the crowd?
Well, I think what's really cool about Sellfy is it's like all about giving creators control. Like, it's less about being just another marketplace and more about like giving you your own digital storefront. And so you have total power over your branding, your pricing, and even how you interact with your customers, which is huge for building, you know, like a loyal following.
So it's less about being a tiny fish in a massive ocean and more about building your own brand presence.
Yeah, exactly.
That's got to be appealing to creators who are serious about, you know, taking their business to the next level.
Absolutely.
I did notice in the guide that Sellfy supports like a massive range of digital products. Was there anything that like really stood out to you when you were reading through it?
Yeah. I mean, I was really surprised by the sheer variety. You've got, you know, the standard ebooks, online courses, design assets, but then there's also stuff like sound effects, stock photos, and even those Lightroom presets that you mentioned. It's pretty awesome. It really opens up a lot of possibilities for creators and all sorts of different niches.
Oh, that's really cool.
And while Sellfy does allow for some physical product sales, their real focus is on digital. That's really where their strength lies. And they've really streamlined the process. So, like, digital products are delivered instantly after purchase.
Oh, wow.
No logistical headaches for the creator.
Yeah.
And a smoother experience for the buyer.
I mean, that's a huge selling point
Yeah,
for both creators and customers.
definitely.
But what about like the actual process of setting up shop on Sellfy? Is it user-friendly?
I think so.
The Hustle Guide talked about different pricing plans, and that can be, you know, a little intimidating for someone who's just starting out.
Sure.
What did you think about that?
Well, they make it pretty straightforward. They offer a free trial, which is great. You can kind of explore the platform and see if it's a good fit for you before committing to anything.
Okay.
And they encourage like a start small, scale up approach with their pricing plans. So you can choose a plan that kind of matches where you're at right now and then upgrade as your business grows.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's definitely reassuring for someone who's maybe dipping their toes into the world of selling digital products for the first time. So, okay, let's say I've signed up for my free trial. What's next? How do I make my Sellfy store stand out?
That's where branding comes in.
Yeah.
It's really important. It's all about creating a memorable experience for your customers. You want something cohesive. So think about a catchy store name that reflects your brand, a nice logo, a consistent color palette across your storefront.
Those visual elements are so important.
They really are.
It's that first impression.
Exactly.
And don't forget a clear about page.
Oh,
You know, tell your story.
definitely.
Connect with your audience, like on a personal level. Building that trust with your audience is huge, especially in the online world.
Yeah, for sure.
Speaking of trust, what about the practical stuff, like refunds, customer support? Those can be tricky areas, especially for online businesses.
Definitely.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think transparency is key. You need to have clear policies on refunds, digital product delivery, customer support. You want to make those readily available on your storefront.
Makes sense.
And on the financial side, Sellfy has both Stripe and PayPal integrated for payment processing. So that gives you and your customers options.
Okay, that's good.
Just remember to factor in those transaction fees when you're setting your prices.
Oh, right. Yeah, all those little details add up. So, okay, we've got our storefront looking all sharp, our payments all sorted. Now let's talk about like the heart of it all, the digital products themselves.
Okay.
I have a feeling just throwing together a quick PDF isn't going to cut it.
You're absolutely right. High-quality content is so important. Your product needs to offer real value. It needs to solve a problem that your target audience has, and it has to be presented professionally.
So, like, what does that look like in practice?
Well, think. Clear descriptions, appealing graphics, maybe even offer previews so potential buyers can get a taste of what they're getting.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And don't forget about file formats. You got to offer the right formats for your product type.
Like, for example.
Well, if it's an ebook, make sure it's downloadable. If it's an audio track,
Yeah.
make sure it's streamable. High-resolution images should be, high-res files.
That makes sense.
It's all about making sure it's easy for people to access and use what you're selling.
Right, because if they can't even open the file, it doesn't matter how great the content is.
Exactly.
So it's got to be user-friendly from the start.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've got our products looking good. Our shop is all set up. Now it's time for the fun part. Getting people to actually buy our stuff.
Yes.
This hustle guide is really big on the marketing side of things. What are some of the key strategies they recommend?
Well, they go into a lot of detail, but one thing that really stood out to me is the power of email marketing. Email marketing.
Yeah.
I'll admit, I've been so focused on social media that I haven't really given email marketing much thought. What makes it so effective? Well, think about it. With social media, you're kind of at the mercy of the algorithms that control who sees your content. But with email, you have a direct line to people who have already said, hey, I'm interested in what you have to offer.
Okay, yeah.
And Sellfy has some great tools built in to make this really easy. You can collect email addresses at checkout, send newsletters, even set up these automated email sequences to kind of nurture those leads.
So it's about building those relationships and
Yeah.
staying top of mind.
Exactly.
I can see how that would be really powerful.
It is.
Are there any other marketing features on Sellfy that really stand out?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like, remember those discounts and coupons we talked about? Sellfy lets you create all sorts of different types, like percentage discounts, fixed amounts, limited time offers.
Oh, cool.
Those can be super effective
Yeah.
for incentivizing purchases
Yeah.
and, creating that sense of urgency.
So it's not just about sending out random emails. It's
Yeah.
about being strategic and using them to actually drive sales. The guide also talked about upselling and cross-selling. Can you explain how those work?
Sure. So let's say someone's about to buy your ebook. On, starting a podcast,
Okay.
upselling would be offering them a premium version of that same ebook, maybe with some bonus content or templates.
Okay.
Cross-selling would be suggesting a complementary product,
No.
like a course on audio editing or a guide to podcast marketing.
Got it.
And Sellfy makes it really easy to set up these offers right there at the checkout stage.
That's smart.
Yeah.
You're basically providing extra value, but you're also potentially increasing your average order value.
Exactly.
Now, what happens if someone adds a product to their cart, but then they get distracted and they don't actually complete the purchase?
Ah, the dreaded abandoned cart. Don't worry. Sellfy has you covered. They have a built-in abandoned cart recovery feature.
Oh, wow.
It automatically sends out reminder emails to those people who left stuff in their cart, sometimes even offering a little discount to sweeten the deal.
That's such a clever feature. Okay, so we're attracting customers. They're loving our products. We're even recovering those abandoned carts. How do we keep that momentum going? How do we really scale things up?
That's where we move from hustling
Yeah.
to strategic growth.
Yeah.
And one of the most effective ways to scale your Sellfy business is creating more products.
More products.
Yeah.
More hustling.
Well, it doesn't have to be overwhelming. The key is to create products strategically.
Yeah.
Think about your target audience and what other needs or problems they might have. So if your initial product was that ebook on podcasting, maybe you create a course on video editing or a bundle of social media templates for podcasters.
So it's about expanding within your niche.
Exactly.
Not just creating more for the sake of creating more. It's about serving your audience and meeting their needs.
Yeah.
The guide also touched on memberships and subscriptions. I have to admit, those sound a little intimidating to me, like a whole other level of commitment.
Yeah. They can be a great way to generate recurring revenue, though, and build a deeper connection with your audience.
Okay.
Think of a membership site as like creating an exclusive club where members get access to premium content, a private community, maybe even live Q&A sessions with you.
So it's about that ongoing value that keeps people coming back.
Yeah.
That sounds really powerful.
It is.
But I'm not sure I'm ready to jump into building a full-fledged membership site just yet. Are there any other options for creating that recurring revenue stream?
Definitely. Subscription-based products are a good option. Instead of offering a one-time purchase, you deliver content or services on a regular basis.
Okay.
So it could be something like monthly design templates, weekly recipe guides, or a series of video tutorials released over time.
So you're providing that consistent value.
Yeah.
And in return, you get that predictable income.
Exactly.
I can definitely see the appeal of that. But even with all these amazing products and services, none of it matters if nobody knows they exist, right?
That's a really good point.
We talked about email marketing, but what are some other ways to get our Sellfy store and our products in front of the right people?
We've got to be proactive. You can't just set up shop and hope people stumble across you.
Right.
We live in a world of content abundance.
Yeah, that's true.
You have to cut through the noise.
So how do we do that?
Well, social media is an obvious one, but it's not just about posting randomly. It's about engaging with your audience, sharing valuable content, building relationships.
So being social on social media.
Exactly.
What else has worked for you?
Guest blogging can be really effective, or contributing articles to industry publications.
Oh, yeah. Good idea.
Podcasts are another great avenue. You can either start your own or reach out to existing podcasts in your niche and offer to be a guest.
So it's all about creating valuable content
Right.
and sharing it in places where your target audience already is.
Exactly.
I'm starting to see the bigger picture here. But with all these different marketing channels, it sounds like a lot to manage.
There are definitely tools and strategies to help. Like we talked about Sellfy's built-in email marketing automation.
Yeah.
But you can also explore other platforms for social media scheduling, content management, even project management
Okay.
to keep yourself organized.
So automate where possible,
Yeah.
but always prioritize that authentic engagement.
Yeah, for sure.
The guide also mentioned something called an affiliate program. I'll be honest, it sounded a little shady to me.
Oh, no, not at all. Affiliate marketing is a totally legitimate strategy, especially for digital products.
Okay.
It's basically recruiting other people, often fellow creators or influencers in your niche, to promote your products for you.
Interesting.
And they earn a commission on every sale they drive to your store.
So they're like brand ambassadors with a built-in incentive.
Exactly.
But how do you even find these amazing affiliates?
We'll start by reaching out to your existing network. Loyal customers, fellow creators you admire, influencers who align with your brand. You can offer them a special link that tracks their referrals.
Right.
Ensures they get their commission.
That makes sense.
And Sellfy actually has a built-in affiliate program feature, so they make it really easy to manage.
Oh, that's helpful.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're hustling, we're marketing, but how do we know what's actually working?
That's where analytics come in. Data can be your best friend.
Okay.
Sellfy itself provides basic data on sales, traffic, customer behavior.
So I can see things like what products are selling well, where my traffic is coming from, who my typical customer is.
Exactly.
That's really helpful.
You can use that data to identify trends, optimize your product listings, fine-tune your marketing strategies.
Makes sense.
And you can take it even further
Yeah.
by integrating Google Analytics for a more in-depth view.
So it's about constantly analyzing and refining. Based on real data,
Yeah.
it's starting to feel less like random hustling
Yeah.
and more like building a well-oiled machine.
That's the goal.
But even with the best strategies in place and the best tools, there are still some common pitfalls to avoid. And one of the biggest ones
Is ignoring customer feedback.
Okay, so it's not enough to just collect those 5-star reviews. What should we actually be doing with that customer feedback?
It's a goldmine of insights.
Okay.
And it's not just about the positive feedback. Pay attention to the negative comments, the suggestions for improvement, the questions people are asking.
Okay.
Engage in conversations, respond to queries, show your customers that you value their input.
So it's a two-way street. We're not just broadcasting, we're actually listening and responding and using that feedback to make things better.
Yeah.
What other traps should we be aware of?
I think one of the biggest mistakes creators make is thinking that if they build it, people will come.
Oh, yeah, the Field of Dreams mentality.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really work that way.
No.
You can have the best Sellfy store in the world, the most amazing products. But if you don't promote it, nobody will know it exists.
Exactly.
So we have to be proactive.
Yeah.
Any other words of wisdom before we wrap up this part?
Well, the digital landscape is constantly evolving. New trends emerge. Algorithms change. Customer preferences shift.
That's true.
So you have to stay informed, adapt your strategies, and be willing to experiment.
So stay agile, embrace the unknown, never stop learning.
That's it.
This has been so insightful. We've gone from basic marketing strategies to the importance of analytics, customer feedback. But before we wrap up, I'm curious about something. This whole hustle concept, it can feel a bit relentless, always pushing, always striving.
Yeah.
Is there a way to do all this sustainably without burning out?
That's a fantastic question, and one that deserves its own deep dive.
Well, then let's not waste any time. On to part 3. We've covered a lot of ground, like setting up shop on Sellfy, creating products, all those marketing strategies. But now I kind of want to step back and talk about the bigger picture.
Okay.
Like, what's the driving force behind all this hustle? What's the why that keeps creators going?
That's where I think we get into the whole idea of purpose. It's not just about making money, although, financial sustainability is important. It's really about creating something valuable, sharing your knowledge and skills with the world, and building a business that you're actually passionate about.
So it's like finding that sweet spot where passion project meets profit potential.
Exactly.
That makes a lot of sense. But as we've discussed, this hustle can be pretty intense.
It can.
The guide even mentioned the importance of avoiding burnout. How do you balance that drive to succeed with, the need to protect your well-being?
It's definitely a balancing act, and it starts with setting realistic expectations. You're not going to build an empire overnight.
Right.
Rome wasn't built in a day. Focus on those small, consistent steps. Celebrate your wins no matter how small they seem. And most importantly, give yourself permission to rest and recharge.
So it's about pacing myself.
Yeah.
Not burning myself out in the first sprint.
Exactly.
I can definitely relate to that. I tend to get really excited about new projects, and then I forget to take breaks.
It's a common trap. That's where setting boundaries comes in. It's really important to define when you're on and when you're off.
Okay.
Decide when you're available to work, when you'll engage on social media, and when you'll completely unplug and disconnect.
So creating that separation, even if your work is something you love.
Exactly.
Which can be hard.
It can.
When you're passionate about what you do, it's easy to blur those lines.
Absolutely.
And remember, self-care isn't selfish.
It's essential.
It's essential.
You can't pour from an empty cup, right?
Right.
Make time for those activities that fill you up, whether it's spending time in nature, reading a book, connecting with loved ones, or even just taking a few moments to breathe and be present.
We can't hustle 24/7.
No.
We need to recharge those batteries so we can bring our best selves to our work. And speaking of bringing our best selves, I wanted to touch on something that I think a lot of creators struggle with: self-doubt.
Ugh.
Imposter syndrome is real.
It is.
Especially when you're putting yourself out there online. Do you have any advice for those moments when we question our abilities?
Those feelings are totally normal. It's easy to get caught up in comparison and feel like you're not good enough, especially when you're seeing all this perfection online. But you have to remember that social media is often a highlight reel, not the full picture.
Yeah, it's so easy to forget that. But even knowing that doesn't always make those feelings go away. How do you deal with that inner critic?
One of the most powerful things you can do is focus on building your confidence. And a great way to do that is through continuous learning.
Oh, okay.
Keep honing your skills. Explore new ideas. Stay curious. The more you learn and grow, the more confident you'll become.
So it's about embracing that growth mindset
Yeah.
and remembering that we're all constantly evolving.
Exactly.
But even when we're focused on our own growth, it's easy to get distracted by what everyone else is doing. Comparison can be such a joy stealer,
It can.
especially online, where it seems like everyone's achieving amazing things all the time.
Comparison is a trap that's so easy to fall into. But here's the thing. Everyone's journey is unique.
That's true.
Your path won't look exactly like anyone else's, and that's okay. In fact, that's what makes your story and your work so special.
It's a good reminder that we're all running our own races.
We are.
What advice would you give to someone who's feeling overwhelmed by that pressure to keep up with the Joneses online?
I would say curate your online experience intentionally. Unfollow accounts that make you feel inadequate or trigger those negative comparisons. Surround yourself with people who inspire you, support you, and lift you up.
That's great advice.
And remember to celebrate your own wins, no matter how big or small.
This whole conversation about the anti-hustle is really resonating with me. It's not about rejecting ambition or hard work. It's about finding a pace that's sustainable, that allows us to thrive both personally and professionally.
Exactly.
And remember, you don't have to figure it all out on your own.
That's so important.
There are so many resources available. to help creators build thriving businesses without sacrificing their well-being.
Absolutely.
Books, podcasts, online communities, even coaches and mentors who specialize in helping creators navigate these challenges.
Yeah, there's a whole support system out there.
Well, this has been an amazing deep dive.
Yeah.
We've gone from the super practical stuff like setting up our Sellfy shop to these bigger conversations about purpose, sustainability, well-being. What a journey.
It's been a pleasure diving deep with you.
Likewise.
And you've absorbed so much great information. Now it's time to put it all into action. What type of digital product are you most excited to offer to your audience?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And I think this deep dive has definitely sparked some ideas.
Good.
But that exploration is for another time. For now, we'll leave you with that question to ponder. Until next time, happy creating.